Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who is new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So welcome to this super requested video, and this is my foundation routine including color correcting and also at the end then my contouring routine, because this is the part that I always leave out. I basically only show you my eyes, what I do with my eyes, and then say I'll be right back. So then one of you commented the other day and said, you know, I really would be interested in seeing what you do while you're off camera. And actually a lot of people have said similar things previously, and I have planned to do especially the color correcting routine, because as you can see I have melasma here, and a lot of people I don't know, I don't suffer from it because I don't have a very bad case, but I don't enjoy it, let's put it that way. And sorry, I have an itch. So a lot of people suffer from this or don't like it and would like to do something about it, and yeah, so I have found a way that works for myself. Of course, the thing is with all of these things that I'm going to show you today, this is super personal, and you will have to do your own thing out of this. You know, take the things that work for you and leave the other things and don't do them, because this is super personal. Not every skin is the same, not every you know, everything is different. So I'm just gonna give you a few tips that work for me, and I hope that it's going to be helpful for you. And I find this super exciting because I'm going to leave out the eyes today. I mean, I'm going to do my eyes, but I'm going to go offline for my eyes, and that is so cool because I've never done that. It's like the opposite of everything I've ever done. So let's go in the video, and I'm going to explain to you step by step what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, at what point of my makeup application, because what I do is a bit broken up. I don't recommend for everybody to do that, but you'll see it in a second. So I hope that you'll enjoy it and it'll be helpful, and yeah, so let's go and do it. Okay, we're a little bit more zoomed in because that just makes sense, so you see a little bit better what I'm doing. And yeah, so when I said in the intro that my foundation routine and all of this is a little bit broken up, I mean the following. So first of all, before I do anything else, of course I took a shower, I did my skincare. That is self-understood. Okay, I did my skincare, and the first thing I did, and I never do that on camera ever because that is like, it does not look nice, is that I tight lined my upper lash line, you know, this. So that is super essential because it looks so much better when this line under your lashes here, the waterline, basically the upper waterline, is black or whatever color you want to have it, than it is skin color. When you're doing, especially when you do dramatic makeup looks. When you do neutral looks, it might not matter so much, but in general, even especially when you have not super voluminous natural lashes, or you're not using false lashes, then that can just add a little bit more volume, or you know, like fake volume sort of, because you feel like there is something there already. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so now let's go in. First of all, I'm going to apply my primer, and for now, right now, I'm testing this one. It's the Fresh and Fit Awake Primer from Essence. It looks like this. I hope it picks it up. I don't know. Anyway, I'm using this. It's not the best primer ever, like it's not, but it is super affordable, and I like to try affordable things because I want to spend my money on eyeshadows and on blushes and on highlighters. That's where my passion lies. So I'm trying, you know, skincare things that are not super expensive, and also foundation related things that are not super expensive, because for me that just makes sense. Okay, so this retails for, how much is it going to be in dollars? Maybe $3, $4, maybe something like that. So it has, like, the initial smell is good, but then once you apply it, it smells a little bit artificial. Like the first initial smell is good, but then it turns into something like, but it goes away. So anyway, so now what I'm doing is I'm breaking up my whole routine, and that is I'm doing just my forehead and a little bit down my nose, and here a little bit down the sides of my eyes. And that is because I want to do my eyebrows before I do my eyes, and not everybody does that, so this might all not apply to you, but I insist on doing my eyebrows when the foundation is on, because I feel it is super hard to do the eyebrows when you then afterwards have to apply foundation around it and like work around it and ruin them, and I don't know. I find that too hard, so I want to have at least this part of my face already done with foundation, do my eyebrows, then do my eyes, and then do the rest of the foundation for the rest of the face. The thing is, if you have to mix foundations, you know, mix a color that suits you perfectly, then this is not going to work for you. If you have a foundation straight from the bottle, then this is going to be okay for you. So put down my primer, let it sit a little bit while I was chatting with you, and now I'm going to take my foundation, which is my go-to foundation. It's the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. This is such a basic. It's in every drugstore, and it's so good. It is so good. It has good coverage, it has a high staying power, and it is not super expensive. It is still expensive enough for someone who uses as much foundation as I do, like almost every day. You know, I have a full face of foundation. So that's why I cannot buy a $60 foundation ever, and I will not, because that's just crazy. Anyway, so I'm putting a little bit of foundation on my forehead, and then I'm taking a brush. So you can of course take sponges or whatever you prefer. Some people even apply foundation with their hands. That is not my piece of cake, but anyway, secret to foundation application: clean stuff, clean brushes, clean sponges, clean people, clean. It's like you are a surgeon. You have to have clean material to do the surgery, and this is exactly how I see my work here. You know, if I were to go to a client, I would also not use a used foundation brush. I would have a clean foundation brush. And this is also with all my other brushes. I always, every single day, clean all the brushes that I'm using, because I deserve the same treatment, if not better, than what clients would get. You know, they deserve clean brushes, they deserve to be treated that way, and I deserve that too. Anyway, so I'm just buffing this in. And you can see that this foundation really just melts into my skin. It's a very nice foundation, if you ask me. If you go for full coverage, of course, you don't have to do that. But for me, I need full coverage because of my melasma, and you'll see that in my color correcting routine later, because you cannot put color corrector under a foundation if it's not full coverage. It doesn't really make sense. So now you can decide to do whatever you want, but then in my case I do need a sponge, and that has to be, you know, I have the spray bottle here, and before I start my foundation routine, I spray this sponge with like just a few sprays, and then I just roll it between my hands like this. So it is a little bit damp, because that is super important that the sponge is not dry, so it does not suck up the moisture from your foundation that you just applied. So that's what I do. And then you have the sponge, and then I just start to just press the product in the skin like this. Okay, so I'm also like buffing it a little bit into the hairline a little bit, because you don't want to have this awkward rim around your face, right, that you see a lot. And then also I just go a little bit down here into the corner here of my eye, so I don't have an awkward rim here and also here. And then down the nose I just go a little bit, because usually I have some fallout from here down everywhere, so I'm just going to wipe that off probably later anyway, but it just looks better, because this is usually when I stop and do my brows and then I come on camera, so I don't want like a weird cut off line here, so that's why I'm just, you know, dragging it down my nose. So anyway, so I'm gonna go off and do my eyebrows, and then I'm gonna be back and tell you what we do next. Okay, sweeties, I'm back. The eyebrows are on, and I think you can see the difference what eyebrows make. Like, eyebrows are so important. It's so annoying to do them. honestly, and I don't know anyone who enjoys doing eyebrows, seriously, but yeah, eyebrows are super important. And I also forgot to tell you what I used to tightline my upper waterline in the very beginning. That is also a eye pencil from Essence. You don't need anything super expensive as long as it is waterproof. So this one here, let me just read this for you, is the Long Lasting Eye Pencil in Black Fever. It's 18 hours waterproof and 18 hours stay power and waterproof. It doesn't really matter to hold this in the camera because you can't see what it is. So anyway, it's also going to be in the description box down below anyway. So I did my eyebrows. I carved out my eyebrows from underneath with the, one second, I'm using the Revolution Cut Crease Canvas in Illustrate. Illustrate, which is a tiny little bit too light for me. Next time I'm going to go for one shade darker. As you can see that this whole area is now very, very light. So I use this cut crease canvas just to cut out the underside sort of the eyebrows, and then for the rest of the lid I'm priming with the Kiko Milano neutral eye base that looks like this. It's almost finished, so soon I'm going to go to something else that I'm going to try out. And yeah, so this is usually the time when I come on camera and start talking to you and we start filming and doing a look. So this is now the point when I'm gonna go off camera and I'm gonna do a look, my second look basically, today with the Alexis Stone palette from Revolution, which looks like this. I think I'm gonna go for purple and this, what's it called? This fuchsia, dark fuchsia, and also the can't think today. The turquoise, this line. So because I want to try new shades, and of course also the Alexis Stone Transformation palette, which looks like this. Last time I struggled with that in my last video, the first impression video that I did with this, but now I know to put a glitter glue underneath, so that it's going to be better this time, I'm sure. Anyway, so in a little bit you're going to see me having already my eyes finished, and then from then on I'm going to just walk you through the next steps of my foundation routine, and then afterwards of course first color correcting, then the foundation routine, the rest of it, and then also the contour and all of that. So I'll be right back. Okay, my lovelies, I'm back, and this is usually the time in my makeup application where I usually go off camera and finish the look, and then I come back with my final thoughts or something like this. So anyway, so you can see that basically this part upwards of my face is done. I just have to still do mascara and put on lashes and things like this, but I'm gonna leave that for a little bit later. And because that I don't need to do that on camera, so I'm gonna do that when I take my next break of you. Okay, so I did put a green eyeliner pencil on my waterline, which is from NYX. It's the shade Esmeralda. You'll find it in the description box. And now I did also wipe off the fallout already with a wet wipe. Wet wipe. Anyway, so let me just get organized. I'm going to take again my primer, my Essence primer that I used also before I applied the foundation on my forehead. And now I'm going to do exactly that down here, like this, and then we're going to go into the color correcting. So what I'm using, and I'm trying to explain to you already in order to save time, I'm going to try to explain to you already the different options. So you have cream products that you can use, you have liquid products you can use, you have also powder products that you can use. I've tried all of them, and for me the liquid ones work best because of my advanced age. I know, I'm not so old, but my skin is also not super young anymore, and for me the cream products, cream color correcting products are just not working anymore. It creases for me, and I suspect that most of you are my age or older, so that's why I would suggest go for something liquid or go for powder. So powder is personally not so my thing, because I always feel to put something liquidy, the foundation, on top of powder is always problematic, you know? So you got to be a little bit experienced to do that, but feel free to do so. I'm not saying you shouldn't, it's just that for me liquid works best. So and that is now from a local brand, so I'm sorry that maybe most of you will not be able to get this, but of course there are a lot of other brands who produce color correcting items, products. Okay, so I'm using this this trio here from Beauty Care. Beauty Care is an Israeli, pretty affordable brand, and I just wanted to try this out because I'm very, very interested in trying out products that are color correcting because of my issues with melasma. So now I have a green here, I have an orange here, and I have a very, very light, like a lavender purple here. So now what I'm doing is I'm using the orange first for my under eye circles. Now I don't have super, super dark circles, so I do not need to sort of pile it on. Depending on how dark blue your under eye circles are, you have to color correct more. Okay, so this has a little pump. I'm just taking like a little bit, and then I'm just dabbing that on. So you can see that this comes out super, super orange, and you can also spread it out and sort of thin it out a little bit. So that's actually what I'm doing. So I'm just sort of spreading it around here under my eye with my finger and dabbing it in like this. Okay, in order to save time, I'm just going to do one side of my face, and then the rest of the face I'll do off camera. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the purple, because the melasma brown shades, they are much, much better to color correct with purple, in my experience. So I don't know why I now have glitter on my finger. Let me just wipe this off, sorry. Okay. So I don't want to have glitter in my color correcting. Anyway, so here this ring of melasma, I'm just dabbing the purple on top of that. So again, this is a very, very personal thing. You'll just have to try out what works for you. It all depends on your skin, on the depth or the intensity of your discoloration, and all kinds of things. So that's why, please don't take this as this is how you have to do it. You'll basically, you can take inspiration from this, and then you have to sort of do your own spin-off. So that's what I'm doing. And then I also have a little bit of melasma here on my top lip on this area. And so there I'm also patting a little bit of the purple on that. And then the red discolorations, like around the nose and pimples that you can see here, I'm color correcting with the green. So that is this one. And again, I'm just putting it on my finger. And then here I'm patting one on the pimple. And then the rest here goes around my nose. So that is what I'm doing. And if I have more pimples than whatever, then I'm just dabbing it on wherever it is. So this is how I look off camera when I'm off camera. Yeah, just that it's going to be both sides, obviously. So I'm going to do the other side, and I'll be right back, and then we'll do the foundation. So I'm going to war. This is how I look now. And now basically either you just wait a little bit and let this all settle a little bit, or you do like me because you don't have time and you use a fan and you just fan it down a little bit. And maybe also you noticed that when I did my forehead at the very beginning with the foundation, that I did not set it with powder. And I think you can see that it actually looks perfect. It has just, you know, they set themselves at some point. So if you have like age-related like wrinkles and things like this, you can really go for something for a foundation that does not need to be set by a setting powder, because powder, it creases into the folds into the wrinkles if you have, and it's just another thing to add onto the old look. You know, the old look. So if you want to avoid that, just let your foundation set by itself, and that's it. Okay, I will eventually put a little bit of powder on it, but just saying that you don't have to, okay? Anyway, I'm fanning this down a little bit, as you can see, and then we're gonna go in with the foundation. All right. Let's do it. Okay, where's my foundation? It's here. Okay, so now what I do is I'm putting the foundation on my finger, and then I'm just dabbing it around here, and then I'm doing another line here. That's just my thing. You don't have to do that at all like this. I'm using again my foundation brush from before, and now I'm just trying to dab this on. I'm not sweeping, I'm just dabbing, because you do not want to move the color correcting too much, you know? It is gonna move a tiny little bit, but try to really just dab it in like short dabbing motions in, and you can see that it covers, you know. And this is the whole thing with the full coverage foundation, that you might have problems if you want to cover this up with a low coverage or medium coverage foundation. You might run into trouble. So just saying that you might have to have a full coverage foundation. Anyway, so I'm just dabbing this in, and then here where I did not have to color correct anything, I'm just sweeping it down. Now, if you're not new here, you know that I'm super fierce when it comes to foundation, that your foundation ends where your clothes begin. It makes absolutely no sense on any level to end your foundation here. It's gonna look ugly. Maybe in the light of your bathroom or whatever, it's gonna look okay, but as soon as you are outside in daylight, it's gonna look ugly because you're gonna have a cut-off line here. Even if you blend it out, there's gonna be a difference between your neck or your décolleté, your cleavage area, whatever, and your face, and you don't want that. You know, that just looks really ugly. So what we're doing is, I'm taking this down, and I'm gonna just zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Move my mirror. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take it on the brush, and I'm going to, wait, no, I don't see what I'm doing anymore. I'm just taking the foundation down to be a little bit beyond where my clothes start, because that's what we do. This is how it's done. Okay, you can of course decide to do whatever you want to do, but this is the official way how it's done. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the second side, and I'm not from the very beginning on putting a foundation on both sides, because as you know, they set, and you don't want them to be you know, setting already while you're finishing one side. Again, I'm just dabbing this on. I just have to adjust my mirror a tiny bit so I see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. Again, just pressing it in. And now we are almost ready for setting the foundation. I just want to always make really sure that I'm getting this portion right. Maybe I should zoom back in. That I get this portion right, because again, it is super important to have a good transition towards your neck and also towards whenever your clothes start. And maybe now you also do understand why I always say that I'm using so much foundation, because I do apply my foundation till where my clothes start, and I don't always wear stuff that is till here, you know, so that's why I'm using so much foundation. Anyway, so that is that, and I should really learn from experience that I should take off my earrings when I'm applying foundation, because I just got foundation all over my earring. Let me just wipe this off, and then I'm again just fanning myself down, because I want to speed up the process of the foundation setting itself just a tiny little bit. And then I'm going to go in with concealer. So I'm using the Maybelline, let's see, what is that? The Maybelline Instant Anti-Age Eraser. What's that? It's so rubbed off. I don't know. What is this? Multi-use concealer? I think that's what it's called. It looks like this. It's going to be in the description box as well. And it's a bit messy because I'm always using it every single day. So I'm just dabbing this on here. And I'm not into like putting concealer as a highlighter everywhere. I'm not that kind of a person. So for that, you'll have to go to someone else. But so this is what I'm doing. I'm just dabbing it here. And if you think that if you have discoloration and you can get away without putting the color correcting underneath, then try. But I want to warn you that I did that a long time. But with my melasma, by the way, I'm using that same sponge that I used before for applying my foundation or buffing in my foundation. And now I'm just doing the same thing here on the rest of my face. Okay. So I just want to warn you, because I know from experience that when you do have discoloration, sorry, I just have a spot here that doesn't belong there. When you do have discoloration and you put foundation straight on it, then it might come across as gray under the foundation. It will peek through and it might come across as gray, and that's not going to be flattering either, you know. So my whole routine changed so much, and my whole overall look changed so much ever since I did my color correcting, you know, ever since I started doing that. So So that's basically what I do now. I'm just buffing this in. And then I'm just going to let it sit again a tiny little bit. Oh. Shouldn't talk while I'm buffing around my mouth. And yeah, so I'm just buffing it in sort of till my neck. This here, it's going to set itself. It doesn't need the buffing. It's really just the face, because you have so many like crevices and things in your face, and not so much here. So here, I'm just buffing it in and in and in. So this needs a little bit of patience, obviously. But yeah, so that's how I do it. Okay, now again, I'm going to let it sit just a tiny little bit. That's why my makeup takes so long, I promise you. I'm setting it like this a little bit, let it sit, and then I'm going to go in with the powder. Okay, for the powder, I'm using the Maybelline Face Studio setting powder. It's a translucent setting powder. And again, this is not a high, like a very expensive powder. It's not at all. And I'm trying to use stuff that works and that is not super expensive, because again, I'm trying to use my money for things that I have passion for. So anyway, I'm just shaking up a little bit. There is this like a plastic thing. It has a few holes, and I'm just shaking up the product a little bit so it comes on this thing, on this plastic thing. And then I'm taking a powder brush, just dabbing it in slightly, and then I'm just dusting it on like this. I'm not packing it on like crazy, because I do believe that at my age I don't need this at all. I can't afford that. So I'm just dusting this on, setting it a little bit, and that is all I do. So then again, I'm just waiting maybe like 2 minutes or so, and then I'll start my contouring routine. Okay, for contouring, I use a contour shade from Il Maquillage, which is a cool brown. This is the shade Say My Name. It's a mineral baked contour shade. And I think I just want to point out the difference between a contour shade and the bronzer, because this, for example, is the bronzer that I'm using, is this one that's from Jade. It's called Pearl Glow. And this is my contour shade. So you can see that this one is a cold brown. I hope it comes across that this one is a cold brown, and this one is a warm and shiny brown. Okay, you don't of course have to go for a shimmery bronzer. I just do it because I'm glowy anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So now I'm going to take a contour brush, which in my case is an angled brush, and I'm picking up the contour shade, and now I'm just dragging this basically more or less from my ear to the corner of my mouth. Not all the way, but just as an outline like this. And I'm sort of curving it a little bit like this. You can also feel, I of course know where my features are in my face, but if you're not sure, you can always feel where your cheekbone is, and then there is a hollow right below it, and this is where the contour shade should go. So this is basically you're creating a shadow where your cheekbone would where the hollow under your cheekbone would be. That's what I'm doing. And I'm taking it down to maybe like halfway, if you use your eyes as a guideline, so maybe around like halfway, you know, this part. So that's what I'm doing. And actually I have changed my routine there quite a bit, because I used to just go like just here, you know, just to contour here. I have black gel eyeliner on my fingers. Okay, so till here, but I sort of changed my mind about this. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go in with the bronzer once I've finished off the rest of my contour. Okay, I think that you can even just now, just with the contour, you can see that the face already looks more defined just by that. So now I'm going to go in with a bronzer brush, and this is a very fluffy thing because I love to be very diffused when it comes to my bronzer. So I'm going to pick up my bronzer that I showed you before from Jade in the shade Pearl Glow, and usually, and that is again very, very, you know, personal, I start to bronze on my chin. I don't know, it just gives me the right way of, I don't know really what it is. This is how I do it. I start on my chin because I want to do this really, really gently, and I feel like if I by mistake go in with too much, this is a place where I can hide it the best, you know what I mean? So I'm tracing basically my jaw all around. That's what I'm doing. And there are a lot of people who use a bronzer shade also for contouring down here. I'm not in favor of this. I think it makes not much sense, but that again is super personal. So if you want to do that, feel free to do that. It's just personally not my piece of cake. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And then I'm also taking it, now I have to adjust my mirror again, up here and sort of contour around my forehead. Now, if you have a very small forehead or a narrow forehead, then you do not have to do a lot there. To the contrary, it will make your forehead look thinner or even smaller. So keep it super close. If you want to do it, keep it super close to your hairline, and maybe here on the sides of your face a little bit, but don't drag it down too much because you think that this is how it has to be done. You have to really adjust it to the size of your forehead. Now my forehead is large, rather large, so I can be super generous with this because otherwise my forehead is basically half of my face. So that's why I'm just dragging it pretty much down and into the forehead and sort of blending it out like this. And that's what I do. So the next thing is blush. What I'm going to do for blush, I'm going to use also a maquillage. I think this is a blush palette that I made myself. It's like a custom-made blush palette. I think what would go well with my look today, maybe this one. This is the shade Lady Marmalade. And where's my blush brush? I'm going to use a blush brush like this. And I'm going to go in with the blush, and I'm placing it, if you remember that we put the contour shade right here, so I'm placing that slightly above. I'm not taking it up too far because I still want to have enough space for the highlighter. So I'm basically putting it a little bit above the contour shade and also a little bit on it, you know, sort of blending it in. And I'm taking it also, you know, about the same length down like we did with the contour shade. Okay, so this is again a very personal thing because I see a lot of people putting their blush right here at the apple of their cheeks, and that is personally for me, it's not like, you know, it's not me because I never blush there. Why should I put blush there? You know what I mean? Like naturally I would blush on the side of my face. That's just how I am, if I even blush at all, because I think I'm too old for this. But anyway, I do not put any blush here. To the contrary, I put my highlighter there. So that's it. That is the other thing that we want to do now. And I'm going to take my Everglow holographic highlighting palette from Jade, which looks like this. Very normal shades, nothing super spectacular. And I'm taking a brush that looks like this, pretty firm. I like to apply the highlighter with firm brushes because it just gives a better result. Anyway, so this is a very dear palette to me because I got that from my husband when I hit 20 subscribers, and ever since it has been my favorite to go to palette. So I think I'm gonna go for a subtle rose gold shade, which is my favorite shade in the palette. It's this one, and I'm about to hit pan on this one. Okay. So I'm picking it up with the brush, and then I'm just really putting it here on the apple of my cheek where other people put their blush, and then I just start circling. So I'm not sweeping ever. Like basically I don't think I'm sweeping anything ever except maybe the contour shade and the bronzing and the blush. Yeah, okay, so I'm circling, and this is really how you get the biggest payoff. I saw Angelica Nyquist, she's putting the brush down like this and going like this. This is also another way of doing it, but I personally go like this. That works really well for me. And then I'm going to go up here a little bit around my temples. There are a lot of people who put their bronzer here. I'm not too much, like I did put bronzer here, yes, but it was further back towards the hair. So I'm just swirling this around here, around my eyebrow a little bit, and then here. And then I'm blending it, sort of just sweeping it a tiny little bit into the blush. So my personal preference about highlighters is, of course, not putting it everywhere on my forehead, and there will be never ever be any highlighter on the tip of my nose. Cupid's bow, maybe, but usually not. Anyway, so that's how we are right now. And as you can see also, because ever since I applied my blush, this pimple again reappeared a little bit. So you have to know that stuff like this will re-emphasize your skin problems. Anyway, so that's what we do. And now this whole area we still have to do, and I still have to dab out the creasing that has occurred now ever since I put down my foundation and my concealer. And then I'm just gonna go and finish the look now. I'm going to put some eyeshadow still under my eye, and put my lashes on, mascara, and find something for my lips, and then I'm gonna come back with the finished look. Okay, hi my lovelies, so we're back with the finished look. I actually had a very, very large break, and I didn't know when I stopped filming that I would actually go wake up my kids, get them ready for school, have breakfast and drop them off at school and finish the look, and then start filming again. So sometimes my life is crazy. So yeah, so this is the finished look. And as you can see, the whole color correcting thing and the whole, the foundation and the contouring, it is a very, very, very important thing for a look, for a whole makeup look to come together. Of course, as in everything, you have to apply your own face shape and your own skin condition and everything to this, because you cannot just like copy and paste from a different person. You can take inspiration and you can take recommendations and things like this, but please do your own thing according to your own face shape and your own situation, because that is the only thing that really makes sense. So I hope though that helped you, especially also the color correcting, because I know there are a lot of people out there who need that, who need to know what to do. And for me personally, this, as I told you before, this has changed my life in the sense of how my overall makeup looks, because maybe that did not come across so much on camera, but in real life you saw it so much that I always, under my foundation, I had this gray rim, where my melasma is, because I tried to cover it up with just concealer, and that's just not good enough. It's not good enough because it's not magic. So you have to go in with a little bit of color correcting, depending on how bad your discoloration is. You have to sort of level it to the right level. You have to find by trial and error, but yeah, what your need is, but I highly recommend it. Anyway, so that is that. I just want to quickly touch up on the look, because a lot of people, after my first impression video on this palette here, let me just zoom out. So after my first impression look on this palette, a lot of people said that we want to see more looks. So this is my second look, and I must say I love the mattes in this palette. This palette, the pigmentation, you would not believe. I know that Makeup Revolution has, people say that it's maybe not so good, whatever, because it's more affordable, but this was super good. This palette is amazing. And now you know that last time I really struggled with the Transformation palette with all those shimmers, and this time I knew how to handle it. I immediately put on the glitter glue and I applied it with my finger, dabbing it on, and I think you can see that my lid is amazing. It came out amazing. And just saying that sometimes a first impression can be misleading. Sometimes you really just have to figure out how to use it the right way, and then you're going to be fine. So the next thing I want to actually try out with this palette is this blue, because that's swatched very thin, and I'm not 100% sure about this one, but this is the next one that I'm going to use in a video or off video, but I'm definitely going to tell you how that performs down the line. Besides that, you'll find everything, of course, in the description box down below, everything I've used that I've not shown you on the camera and all of that. And I hope that was really helpful. Please let me know in the comment section if you found this helpful, if you can apply something to your makeup routine or something. I would really like to have your feedback on that. And if you have more specific questions that I maybe didn't touch on in this video, then please let me know. I can totally make a follow-up video on whatever questions there are. If you're new to my channel, then please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I would love that. We're growing this wonderful place together, and I'm just so super honored to have you. And besides that, I'm gonna see you here next time for my next video, which is gonna be super, super soon. And up until then, I love you so much. Hugs and kisses. Bye.